Hello there and welcome back to another episode of the Long Cut Cricket Podcast, the first of 2017. I'm Dave. I have O sat beside me. Happy New Year, O.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well.
And obviously Happy New Year to everybody at home. This episode we will be having a chat about England's 2016, how it went, a few of our favourite moments. Firstly, it'd be nice to say thank you for all the support we had in 2016. If I'm going to be honest, I didn't think anybody would listen or would get any subscribers. So
it's still really young, isn't it?
It's nice that a few of you have decided to get involved. What would be nice would be in the comments below if you guys could actually just leave some feedback on where you want this podcast to go in the new year.
Any kind of improvements.
Yeah, if there's some things you want us to talk about, please let them know. I know there's only 7 of you, and I don't know if it's daunting to leave YouTube comments, but it'd be nice if you guys did actually leave some.
I don't think they'll get daunted about it. We did get our first like.
So
thank you very much for that, because I've been asking for that from the start. I was well chuffed when that popped up. Yeah, seriously.
Like I said, we're
that was the thumbnail though, wasn't it?
We're astounded that anyone's decided to listen. But if there's some things you want us to talk about or some things you want us to do in the new year, then please let us know and we will try and improve the podcast for those listeners out there. Let's jump straight into it. The first series we had in 2016 was England versus South Africa in South Africa. And a series like I was really impressed by, actually.
It kind of bled into, didn't it? We were sort of already into it, weren't we? Going into 2016, so we sort of caught the back end.
And also, I think we finished that year fairly well as well, actually.
Yeah.
With a win against New Zealand, was it? I think we beat New Zealand in the English summer, went to South Africa, may have missed a series out, but we were doing well. England looked a settled team, especially with the batting lineup, because of course that was James Taylor's last series as an England cricketer.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that problem with number 5. We had someone settled in James Taylor who we had confidence in.
He was getting better, wasn't he?
And it's a player that looked like he was going to get better and better throughout. We actually won that test series 2-1 out of a 4-test match series in South Africa. Did really well. When I think back then, I just think about that massive 250 by Ben Stokes.
It was crazy.
The second ever fastest double 100.
Do you remember when we were looking at like world-class players that had played their whole career and never got 250? Just like, he's managed to get 250.
I've actually got his stats here. 258 off 198 balls.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's incredible, isn't it? He shared a partnership in the second test with Bairstow of 399. Bairstow picked up 150 not out.
Yeah, that's... I was watching some of the Australia-Pakistan and they were showing the top batsmen. Mm-hmm. And Johnny Bairstow, he's got the second highest average of 2016.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this is like where it started, isn't it, really?
I think might be like 60, in the low 60s somewhere, or high 50s. And Virat Kohli's the only person higher. So that's pretty impressive. Yeah, 70, I think it is.
And if you listen back to the old to the last week's podcast, the one you got on Christmas Day, Virat Kohli didn't make the ICC team of the year. Yeah, it was great.
That was a really cool series. I enjoyed that. And some of my friends are actually there watching that.
Oh, yeah, you said that some of your friends got. I remember in the third test, we skittled South Africa out for 80 something, and Broad picked up a 6 for nothing. And Stuart Broad's one of my favourite players. I love watching him tear through a team when he can do that, can't he?
When he bowls it full.
When he's not pitching it short. Actually,
I'll tell you what's happened to South Africa. A couple of years ago, they were the number 1 team. Really good. Yeah. They've been beaten in South Africa quite a few times. Australia beat them in South Africa not that long ago.
They've had problems with injuries, haven't they?
England beat them.
They're not a very consistent team. But
I think they lost their captain Smith,
who has been a consistent team in world cricket these days. We don't really get that Australia anymore, do we? A consistency, or like maybe England 2009, 2011. That was quite a consistent team, number 1 in the world. You don't really get that anymore. Moving on to the ODIs, England threw it away. They were 2-0 up. They lost 3-2 in a 5-match series, but we started to see a partnership start with Alex Hales and Jason Roy. And I actually think Alex Hales has been unlucky not to get into the ICC ODI squad. Because he's had a brilliant year.
He has.
And we started to see this really nice partnership.
I don't think he's done
there.
badly in any format, to be honest.
No, especially him and Jason Roy have had success all throughout the year, really. After that, we had the World T20 in the West Indies, I think.
Yes. Yeah, because in fact, the West Indies won it, men and women.
Men and women won it together,
which was pretty cool.
And did England women play them in the final? I can't remember.
I don't know.
But
I couldn't comment.
England
messed it up. They should have won it. Definitely should have won
second. The only team they actually did lose against was they lost against West Indies twice. Chris Gale smashed that brilliant 100 to open the series to open the tournament.
I think it was more the last over.
Oh no, but in the first game.
No, I know. Yeah, but I mean, what lost us the World Cup?
Well, it was Brathwaite scored 4 consecutive sixes off Stokes.
Come on, that's really bad.
Oh, it's really good at the same time from Brathwaite, isn't it? It's brilliant. To hit 4 sixes consecutively is fantastic.
Come on.
England should have won that. I think they didn't need was it 19 off the last over?
I know, because I remember him starting the over. But I don't think you could ever see England not winning this.
We saw a very good Afghanistan in that series, almost beat England.
Yeah,
it was nice to see Afghanistan play. So after the T20, we had a bit of a break, and the disappointment of that kind of swiftly vanished when we started playing Sri Lanka in England.
We spoke about this though. I don't think we'd started the podcast yet, had we?
No, we didn't start. In the English, when we started only a couple of months ago.
You were just saying, I remember you texted me after the first Test match where I think they just got destroyed. And you just thought we should not be playing a team like Sri Lanka in the summer, in England, that's right. England summer.
I said that we shouldn't play.
They're just too weak. They're not good. They don't know the conditions.
We shouldn't play Sri Lanka early summer because it's hoops around.
And to be fair, they're sort of in a rebuilding, aren't they?
And it was freezing cold. And if you would have looked at the Pakistan team with their fast bowlers, with their batsmen, they would have given a better game than the
they've got some really talented swing bowlers. I mean, Amir.
So I was actually disappointed with the series in a whole because it was so one-sided. It was almost watching a team bully another team, wasn't it? Really, it was
a mismatch, wasn't it?
Yeah, we saw a few Sri Lankans play as well as they possibly could, and we saw a few success stories, but it wasn't that enjoyable to watch.
What would be enjoyable to watch is trying to see England play Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka. That would be good. After watching them in India, it'd be so bad.
Well, it would be
kind of conditions.
It might be a reverse of that summer. That
might be a good series. Yeah, that was a bit of a non-event, really, wasn't it?
Obviously, the likes of Broad and Anderson had their way with that.
Inevitable.
Though we go to Lords? We went to Lords and watched one of the days, didn't we?
Lords, yeah,
we want to watch a really good day at Lords.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Wickets are flying, weren't they?
Yeah, we got to see both teams bat.
Yeah, and
there was a lot of wickets.
Yeah, so
Wokes bowled really well, didn't he?
It was Wokes. This was Wokes kind of. I think this was Wokes. I don't want to say announcement, but do you know what I mean? That started to stamp some authority on a position of Wokes being in the England team. It was
this summer, wasn't it?
Yeah,
did really well in both of the series this summer.
And so that was England win 2-0 out of a 3-test match series, no competition.
It was weather, wasn't it?
Yes, that saved Sri Lanka in one of the test matches. And we actually had a 5 ODI series that ended 3-0 to England. I remember watching this, it was really brilliant. When Plunkett hit 6 off the final ball to tie the game. And what happened was, it was really, really good actually.
Was it him and Bresnan?
No, Bresnan doesn't play for England.
No, sorry. What am I? No, it was
David Willey.
Yeah, I was thinking of a first class game. I think those was Bresnan and someone smashing it all over the place.
I remember it because whoever it might have been Willey, whoever was batting in the middle with Plunkett, the penultimate ball of the innings was hit, and it should have only been a 2. And then, but the Sri Lankans were coasting, if you like, because they thought they'd win the game. Right. But they sneaked a 3, which meant the last ball would still count, which brought Plunkett on strike because they snuck 3.
Right.
So that means that you'd have to hit 6 for it to be a tie. Right. But it should have only been 2 the last ball, so they would have had to hit 7, so they wouldn't have been able to tie the game. And it ends up,
I don't remember that.
Plunkett just hitting it straight back over the bowler's head. It was a brilliant 6.
He can do that though.
He's really powerful.
He's
man.
a really good hitter.
Yeah, I really distinctly remember that Sri Lanka kind of let that last...
Still wouldn't pick him, but...
That penultimate ball go. And it was an easy 2, and they were just coasting. They weren't bothered. And the next thing we know, they've scampered through for 3 and made a game out of it. We also, in that series, saw Chris Woakes make 95 not out with the bat.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying now, it's been a really nice thing into that 2016, hasn't it, Chris Woakes?
Yeah, I think he's a really good addition. I think he's unlucky that he's also sort of first on the chopping board as well. With everyone fit. I think he deserves better than that. I think he should be getting close to being a nailed on position in that England team.
Although I think Chris Woakes is probably the highest. He's the highest seamer apart from Broad and Anderson. I would have him higher than Ball, Finn.
Yeah, I think he's seen as an all rounder though, not a fast bowler.
No, I think he gets in the team in front of fast bowlers, in front of the likes of Ball or Finn.
I don't think he's selected like that.
Well, he is.
Because
that's why he gets in front of Ball.
Yeah, but I think he gets dropped if everyone's fit. I don't think they don't pick him.
So you're saying that I'm wrong? You're saying that Ball's coming in?
No. I don't know who they drop him for.
Well, they can't. They've only got 2 seamers.
They do because Anderson's come back and they dropped him. Yeah,
but that's in India, isn't it? That's different.
Yeah, so he's on the chopping board, isn't he?
Not for this year. 2017 it won't be. Not for the English summer, because we'll go through with new pace bowlers.
We'll see.
I think he definitely comes in front of Ball.
I hope so.
And I think you're getting a little bit mixed up with spinners coming in and maybe having three spinners rather than having the man simmer. So Chris Woakes had a brilliant year. We also in that series saw Roy and Hales hit 256. They won by 10 wickets. A massive partnership. Do you remember watching these two take 2? England were chasing, and I think they did it in something ridiculous, under about 40 overs. Hit 256 without losing a wicket. Both the lads got hundreds, and that's been a really good partnership actually that year. What do you think about Roy and Hales?
Well, you can't argue with that. I mean, that's crazy.
Because Roy later on scores 162 in another game.
Yeah.
Who, if you had to, just for the argument's sake, you had to choose you for some reason you have to drop one of them. Which one would you rather keep? Roy or Hales?
I don't think I have. I'm not. I don't know who I would bring in for.
Oh yeah, but this is just for
that's what
an idea of who's better.
Because I think it's difficult. It would depend on who was coming in, if that makes sense.
But who's the better batsman then?
I don't know. I don't have an answer. Who would you go for?
I think Hales, just because of the year he's had. I think Hales will be more consistent. Though I think maybe Roy will continue to improve and be able to. Maybe he might not be able to hit.
I think that's really difficult.
I think they work really well together. And then with Joe Root coming in number 3, it's a great front 3 in ODI cricket, isn't it?
Mm.
And obviously that was the end of that series, and there was we had weather again. It was early summer, and we had one game knocked off. It was a no result. I think if we're looking already, there's England's cricket in 2016 has been within the ODI format. It's been really good.
Yeah,
they've been such a better ODI team.
It will be good.
Then test. Then
it'll be interesting to see how long we maintain it for, because we kind of have these bursts of going. Do you know what? We're actually really good. Yeah. And then we get to something like a World Cup or something, and it just goes absolutely down the pan, and then everyone goes, "Oh, we're terrible. We need to completely restructure everything."
We certainly did well in 2016.
No, that's what I'm saying.
T20
It's
World
really
Cup.
good. I just hope they can maintain it. And like 2017, at the end of it, we're going, do you know what? We're still really, really good.
Because I think I've said it, might have said it before, or might have spoke to you about it before, was that the England ODI squad are better doing their job than the England Test squad doing theirs. The England ODI squad are more successful and better at playing that format of cricket than the Test squad are playing playing Test cricket.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare, isn't it? I mean, we spoke about it before, but you can't really. Yeah, I mean, they win more games. So.
And I think a lot of that is down to the likes of Owen Morgan saying this is how we're going to play as a team. And actually, if you look down that squad, they can have this really attacking role. You know, obviously I've picked out 256 for naught, but
that's a freak, isn't it?
If something did go wrong, they bat all the way down. We saw Plunkett hit a 6 off the last ball. We've got Rashid, Plunkett, Willie.
Do you think
can
in
all bat.
one-day internationals, having a really long batting lineup is actually makes a team much harder to beat than if a team has a really good bowling lineup? Because I think it. I think I don't know whether it would.
You win. I think you win cricket in general in ODIs with the bat, don't you?
So that's probably where we're doing so well, because we do bat really deep.
And the batsmen we've got. We'll go and talk about this later on in the podcast.
Because like, where does Wokes come in? He comes in like 7 or 8, and it's like.
The next Test series was England-Pakistan, and this was a really good Test series, wasn't it? 2-2 at a 4-day series, 4-match series. Disappointing though that England couldn't beat Pakistan in English conditions.
I don't know. I think Pakistan is shaping up as
a very good
probably
team,
the best Test team in the world.
Well, I think India have been blessed by having a lot of home games this year.
That would be amazing when those two teams play each other.
It would be good, wouldn't it?
It's a grudge match anyway. They're definitely the best two. Best teams in the world at the moment.
Though I think England could have thought, because they went in 2-1 in the last game, they lost it, kind of thing. And Pakistan, do you remember the press ups? We had a lot of fun and games.
I think that Test series probably gave Pakistan quite a lot of confidence.
Definitely.
And you know what? We are actually really good.
I remember, was it Sarfraz, the wicketkeeper batsman, played really well. Yeah. It was actually Yunus Khan found his feet again, didn't he?
Well, he had a struggle at the start, didn't he? And at the end, he got a big 100.
Did he get a double, did he? Or was it?
No, I think he got 150 something.
Misbah.
Oh, actually, he might.
I think he
might have been a double, actually.
Misbah al-Haq scored. He did well, didn't he, for a 41-year-old?
Yeah, Misbah was the press-ups, isn't it?
Yeah, 41-year-old captain. And they got the Azhar Ali, haven't they? Who's actually played... Was it last night I was watching him playing it in New Zealand? And he was doing really well. It was that was one of the best Test series I think you're going to see. If for a neutral, 2-2, no... It was kind of swinging back and forth all of the time.
Yeah, I would say before that series, I would think England should beat Pakistan. But since that series and watching them play Australia, I wouldn't back England to beat Pakistan.
Well, in
England.
No, you think Pakistan?
I think Pakistan are really good.
It was the series where we saw Amir come back.
Yeah.
And Amir actually... I remember there being such speculation about is he going to have a hard time or not. And he was lucky that the first ground he went to was Lords.
Well, he got some abuse in some warm-up games. There was that big controversy with the announcer. I don't know what he said, but something completely stupid.
Oh, really?
For an
announcer
yeah, the
games?
announcer over on the ground.
Right.
Said, I don't know what it was, but big thing with that, which is just stupid.
But I think he was lucky to have Lords as his first game.
It's the perfect one to go to first, isn't it? So they don't let people come in fancy dress. So.
You're not going to be shouted at or the no ball calls, which I thought we might get a lot of. And Alistair Cook, I remember, came in and said...
Yeah. Well, there's no point, is there? It's just...
What happens, it happens. He had a really good series against England, actually. And he was probably unlucky not to... Cause do you remember, both teams are really bad in the field. Drop catches all of the time.
Yeah, I think that was Pakistan's main problem, was the fielding.
Though Joe Root scored a quite brilliant 254 that series. And we hadn't seen I think we might have seen another... That was his second double 100. And we should really see more double hundreds from Joe Root, I think. I think he gets himself in that position of getting in rather than getting out most times.
I think he'd be happy with 100 at the moment, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Just getting one. But yeah, I think the very, very best, once they have the capability just to make massive, massive scores. So he's always going
to. The ODIs turned out England win 4-1, and this was really convincing from England. We saw Hales make the new English record. And this is again what I was saying about last week, about why isn't he in the ODI?
Yeah, we can't figure out the ranking for it, how they've done it, because there's a few players in both Test match and one days that doesn't make sense why they're not in the team.
Just Hales makes a quite brilliant 171. I remember it being...
That's the highest
English
one-day international score, isn't it?
And then England made the highest ever total of 444 for 3.
That's mental.
That's on 50.
I don't know. Do you think that will ever be beaten?
Well, if England...
I don't know if it will. That is a huge score.
Do it again.
That is huge.
It was at Trent Bridge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was at
just going crazy.
Hales' own ground.
And
but I remember
Butler kicked off as well.
He scored like 80 off like 3 balls, didn't he, towards the end?
It was crazy.
I remember watching Hales and just thinking, I hope he goes on and gets a double. But then I was just like, do I want him to be the highest?
The highest ever.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's like what we said about Stokes, wasn't it? At this time, me and Owen weren't massive Stokes fans. We actually really thought this is a bit hit and miss. And I remember saying, there are, like you said earlier, I don't want him to go and get a triple.
No,
because there's players that can't get triple.
Yeah.
But we saw that another brilliant ODI series, winner 4-1, and then that was the end of the English summer. Which generally, what did you think? It was a bit of an England comprehensively won the ODIs each time, and gave Sri Lanka such a drumming that it was probably for the cricket fan quite nice to see a 2-2 4-test match draw with Pakistan.
Yeah, I think
because that was a real competition. So
probably coming out of it, you go, really, England should be winning that. But now you're going, we've done well to get a draw out of that. I
think actually for somebody who went along and watched a game, and for somebody who's watched it or listened to it over the summer, it was actually quite a good summer of cricket, because
it was.
We almost had a bit of a parallel. We had no competition,
and it's always good watching a team smash someone anyway.
Especially
it's always fun to watch. So,
but then we can't say the same for the English winter so far. Well, the English winter of 2016.
No, definitely not a Test match. I mean, not for anything, but
so we opened up, which I remember us saying at the time. This is when the first podcast we ever did was the first ODI between England versus and we said it's really refreshing to have the ODI series before the Test series.
Yeah.
England won the Test series 2-1. No, England won the ODI series, 2-1.
Yes.
And there was no really standout players. I think we were all getting a bit excited about Adil Rashid doing well.
Well, quite a few people didn't go for safety reasons.
Didn't find themselves in there.
They're always sort of. It was kind of like an experimenty with both.
It was kind of like a half series as well, wasn't
ODI and the Test matches.
We only had 3 ODIs and 2 Test matches, and then was it 2 members of the team? Joe Root didn't go because
they rested him, didn't they?
He was rested, but we had
Owen Morgan, the captain, didn't go.
Owen Morgan didn't go.
Hales didn't go,
and that was through safety reasons, wasn't there? There was worries about attacks
there was quite some horrific stuff going on.
So which is fair enough. But England did go. They did win the ODIs. Stokes would have probably taken vice captain and Root the captain, wouldn't he, in the ODIs?
Yes,
that's how it worked, wasn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
Hang on.
No, Root didn't
go. Butler was
the captain.
Yeah, because he had that Argy Bargy, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Was that Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit.
And so Stokes would have taken the vice captain. And I remember you saying actually this winter, Stokes has probably matured more as a player and been able to be more consistent.
I'd say that definitely with batting in Test matches.
Yeah. Though with bowling, he hasn't had a chance.
Well, no, but when he bats, it's like you used to think in any situation. It's like the only situation where it's good is if we have a huge score and he comes in. You're like, well, he might take him apart, but it doesn't matter if he doesn't.
But we've seen.
Whereas now,
yeah,
through the winter or even the summer, he's actually saved England.
Yeah,
and batted for long.
We've seen him apply himself, haven't we, as well?
And not just gone, oh, I got 250 and 100 balls, and try and do that every time.
Although we did see England, Bangladesh's first ever winning in a Test match against England.
Yeah, against England.
And I think that was against anybody outside of Zimbabwe.
I think
and
England
West
wasted
Indies.
that Test match series. And they wasted it with their team selection.
You think the team selection
It was just a waste of time.
Yeah, they went in with
stupid.
Was it
Why did Gareth Barry? Gareth Barry?
Gareth Barry.
Yeah, why did he even go?
He went to India as well.
Well, yeah, it's so stupid.
I have a stat down here, which we saw this a lot this winter. England in the second Test match were 100 for naught, 164 all out. We saw that a few times against India as well, didn't we? Oops.
Do you know? Just going back to the Gareth Barry thing, just for a second. Do you think they picked him because they thought they might get a Harath?
No.
No?
They picked him because they knew Moeen Ali, Adil Rashid and Sari couldn't hold up an end. They were all going to be expensive. They thought Gareth Batty, with experience, would come in and hold an end up. Didn't work. He was just as expensive as the rest of them.
You don't think they were thinking, having played against Sri Lanka, like, well, they've got an old experienced bloke and he's actually working out pretty well.
Well,
and it's like, you know what, we might end up being, just someone who can, like you say, hold up an end, and he's pretty handy with a bat, and he'll be really good, and he can actually be a proper player in our team.
That's exactly what.
Because if they weren't thinking that, then why on earth did they pick him? If they're just thinking, well, he'll just bodge it for this series.
Well, no, it was a bodge series. It was a bodge job.
Yeah, it's stupid.
There's no other. You can't.
You don't. Why pick him? There's no good reason to pick him.
Apart from the reason I've given, of that they believe that he could hold an end up.
I wouldn't pick him for that. What's the point?
Well, we've seen...
Because then when it comes back around next time, he goes, we got any experience? No, we picked some old bloke who'll never play again. Like, brilliant.
Well, but we've seen
it didn't work anyway, so...
Yeah, and we've seen...
So it just frustrates me.
We've seen, actually, something in 2016 we have seen is spin bowling in England is pretty abysmal, actually. The spinners that we've got...
I follow... blowers on Twitter, and have you seen him seeing Santa? And he goes, I was hoping he'd bring, well, I can't remember, the wording was great, it was him with a picture and he stood up next to Santa shaking his hand like proper smart by a Christmas tree, and he said I asked him to bring England a spinner or something. It was pretty funny.
Well, we haven't got one.
No, I know.
Well, we've got Adil Rashid. He's our best spinner, but he
bowled well in one Test match, didn't he, against India?
Yeah.
And I thought, actually, do you know what, if he bowls like that, we'll take that.
Though, the thing is, Adil Rashid, he picked up a lot of wickets. 23, was it, in a 5-match series?
We spoke about it.
Which is really good, actually. The amount of wickets he picked up.
Rubbish.
Well, no, but...
I'm not taking that. That's not... It's like, there's so much more to it. If you just look at 23 wickets, you go, oh, he must have been all right.
Yeah.
And then you look at the results and the amount of runs, and you go, actually, that is irrelevant.
His wicket-taking... can only get better, surely. Well, that's not true.
But it's like when Moeen Ali had a really bad patch. He was taking wickets, but he was getting slaughtered. He's useful because people go after him.
He's certainly never taken as many wickets as that going through that bad patch. They will have to look at spin options in the future.
I don't think Ansari was so bad. I don't think he was terrible.
But it's like Dawson. I don't think he was...
He was all right.
But he's not filling you with... confidence, thinking.
But if you want someone to hold up an end, I think Ansari or Dawson is better than Rashid or Batty or anyone else. So if that's what they were going for,
but again, they didn't hold up the end. They still failed in that respect.
I don't think
they were better.
Did Ansari get bowled that much?
Well, he was ill.
We were talking about that.
He was ill in one Test match, and he only played one real Test match. Picked up 2 wickets.
Yeah, but I don't think they bowled him that much, did they?
Well,
and then
they
he bowled the hell out of Dawson.
But
it's a mess.
We saw some real mess with the captaincy,
mess.
And I think it was just that a horrible series, and obviously you guys can go back and listen to what we thought of each of the match, because that's such a difficult series to talk about. It was
pretty easy, isn't it? It's just
dross.
You can just take them apart in whatever department you want.
It was
the only
really
good
horrible
thing out of that was Hamid, finding Hamid
and Jennings. Well, Jennings actually had a better series than Hamid. Jennings scored 100 and scored a 50. Hamid only scored 250s. Hamid had more games. I think Jennings will get looked because he's not this young 19-year-old guy who's got this lovely persona.
I'm more happy about Hamid than Jennings.
But Jennings did play better than Hamid. We can't question that. He's scored more runs. He scored 100. He only had 2 test matches.
Mm.
But people will have this thing about Hamid being young. I really enjoyed watching Hamid, and but I don't want to discredit Jennings, because I think he actually, probably his stats will probably be better. I know he got Norton and got a 1 or whatever it was, but he did pick up 100, did pick up a 50.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. And maybe we've sorted out a number 2 and a 3. Another opener, and maybe someone could put slot in at 3 with Jennings. I think it's going to be hard to drop either of those going into the English summer.
I hope they pick Hamid again. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think it'd be difficult to drop him, won't it?
I don't think it will be. Because if they go, well, Jennings is our opener. Look how well he did.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, I don't know why you wouldn't. I hope I'm wrong, but I could see them just not doing it.
You can see why they would do it, though.
It's just because it annoys... I'll tell you why I say that. Because it will annoy me. And they're brilliant at doing what will annoy me.
But Jennings had a really good...
No, I've got no problem with Jennings being picked. But like I said, I hope they go, well, should we try and fit both of them in? Rather than go, well, it's one or the other.
Yeah, I would like to see maybe both of them feature in the English summer. Because I quite like the idea of having 3 openers, 1, 2 and 3. You know, that... because
didn't work so well last time they tried it, did it?
Well, I'm about to go on to the players now that I don't think... all the players that have been dropped in Test cricket for England.
What did you say before we started, though?
I don't think we'll see a lot of these guys play again.
Right, for England in Test match cricket.
In Test match cricket.
And I looked at it, and I reckon there's definitely 1, and probably, possibly 2.
So Alex Hales.
He'll play again.
So you think he got a chance to get in front of both Hamid
and Jennings? Do you mean this year?
Jennings?
Do you mean this coming year?
In Test...
Or do you mean ever?
Yeah, well...
Ever?
In this coming
Alex
year,
Hales
if you
will
like.
play Test match cricket for England again.
So you think Hamid or Jennings will fail in this opening spot?
I don't know. I'm telling you that he will play for England again.
How are you making...
you're asking the question, I'll give you the answer.
Okay, then so how have you come to that conclusion?
Because English cricket is just not consistent enough.
But he has to get past 2 of the players now.
Yeah. Well, he will then. He'll get picked over them.
So that he'll outperform... Well, both Hamid and Jennings will fail at English cricket.
One of them will have a bad patch and they'll bring him back.
Right, so Compton?
Probably not, because he's taken a break from even county cricket, isn't it?
We won't see him in 2016. He's shot.
Depends how he does in county cricket.
I don't think. Balance, I don't think we'll see him again in 2016. I don't think
you can't say Vince won't get another go when what flipping Balance came back again.
That's true. But Balance actually played well to start with.
But he was rubbish.
Vince has never played.
I'll tell you, definitely won't play for England again.
Who's
live. He will never play for England again.
Did he play in 2016?
I don't know if he did. That's a bad shout.
Was he playing in South Africa? Actually?
Well, he won't play again.
I don't think Balance might do, but I can't see him in 2017, nor can I see Vince. Duckett.
Definitely.
Maybe not in the Test squad, though.
Definitely.
You
Definitely. It's too fragile. They haven't even got a set 11 to pick. And these people have already been in, so they'll. Though if I saw
Hales, Vince, Balance, or Duckett come back in the team in 2017, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, though.
I'll be disappointed. Ever. Oh, but it's so hard to say ever, isn't it?
Well, that's what I mean.
But let's say 2017.
In 2017,
I can tell you we won't probably see Batty ever play again due to his age. And also I've got Dawson and Sari. They've both been dropped, or Dawson hasn't, if you like. But I can't see him. Either of those two making their way into the English summer being a spinner. And Stephen Finn, I think he's at the back of the queue of the fast bowlers now. I think Ball and Wokes will be in front of him. That's a bit of a graveyard of cricketers, though, isn't it?
No, I don't think it is.
Well, I
think it's hopeful that
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. We've gone through a team of players.
Yeah. Well, that just shows you how fragile the team is that we've picked those people and dropped them again.
So
now you're saying the people we've picked over those people are like, well, we're team set. No way is this England team set. I don't think this England team that has been picked.
So where's our weaknesses
going into 2017 is our best 11. I don't think we know our best 11, and also I don't think there's a whole team of players in front of that 11 to replace anyone who does badly in the team now.
So we've got a couple of minutes left. Where are our weaknesses and what do we need to improve for the 2017 year?
I think the second opener is still a question mark.
Yep, but we have potentially got two players that could play there.
Number 3 is a problem.
Joe Root could easily fit.
I don't want Joe Root at 3. I don't really like that.
Though it's
a solution, but I don't think. I think Joe Root should be England's number 4.
I think your number 4 is more of a question mark over your number 3.
Only because Joe Root doesn't play
there. Yeah.
So I think.
But
number
I think
3 should be the problem.
No, I would disagree. I think you want to play Joe Root number 3 if you can't play him at number 4 because you want to stop that rot. How many times have we seen England go 100 for 5? That needs to stop in 2017. I'm sorry. That is actually...
Yeah. No,
how many times did we see
order,
that?
Isn't it? It's a middle order. So hopefully the 2 openers that are still question marks, they've done well when they started, but hopefully that will sort out 2 and 3, like you said. Then Joe Root can bat 4 in an ideal
Does
world.
Mo and Ali stay with you as a batsman? Because he's actually had a really good year at the bat,
and
I think.
Ali...
Though he does tend to give his wicket away.
I don't know whether I'd have Mo and Ali 5 or 6.
Yeah.
This is where because
we did this in the last podcast when we ran out of Buttler. It was a Buttler, Moeen or Rashid, wasn't it? Those 3 players, big question marks over them
and
because
then
we need to get another bowler in.
Then where you bat at Bairstow, because if he has the gloves or doesn't have the gloves.
I think... Do you want to keep Rashid as your spinner? Because that's
the other real big problem. I don't know.
Because I think the 3 frontline seamers should be Jimmy, Broady, and Wokes. Stokes is your rounder, and you need a spinner.
Yeah, I think it depends what England want from their spinner as to how they go about sorting it.
But I think you need to nurture a spinner now. Now, I've never been a fan of this, but because it didn't work very well this winter, for the next time we go out, I know we'll play Australia, where they will need somebody to actually go out there and bowl spin in Australia. It won't be like an English summer where they need to just have someone coming on.
Lyon does really well in Australia, I mean.
Sorry?
It's just Lyon, the Australian spinner, does really well in Australia. So spinner's vital.
I'd like to see, potentially, I'd like to see either Axe, Moeen or Buttler keep Rashid in. But then you're going to have to think about where Bairstow's going to have to bat. He might have to go back number 7. Stokes might have to bat number 6.
You want Rashid as...
I want Rashid as
having him in as a
I'm
wicket an attacking bowler.
Give as much time, and because he's the best, he's the frontline spinner for England. He should be. He's the best spinning option we've got.
Is that because he's a leg spinner?
That is because he's the most dangerous bowler. Maybe that's because he bowls leg spin. Yeah.
And that's how bad it is.
But I'm not. I wouldn't make that judgment just because I'm bored of off spin. I loved what we said in the last podcast. We loved watching the likes of Jadeja, Ashwin, Harath, 3 best bowlers in the world. But we liked watching them play. I think you've got to keep Rashid. He has to get better.
The situation of spin is so bad. It's like, well, do you want a bad leggy or a bad offie? Like, well, definitely a bad leg spinner. Has much better chance of taking wickets than a bad off
like we saw it, Rashid take 23.
Exactly, yeah. Point proven.
I'm just going to end, we are running out of time here, with a stat that England have lost more games than they've won.
Test matches.
Right. I've got a few stats I just want to run through here. England have won 2 out of 5 series this year. They've drawn 2 test series. So they've only lost the one against India.
All series?
Yeah.
One day as well?
All test series.
Oh,
so they've won 2 out of 5. They've drawn 2.
Is that counting South Africa?
Yeah, because it's in 2016.
Yeah, okay, right.
So, and they've only lost the one series, which was the most recent against
India.
So
that's a shocking loss, though.
But you're thinking, well, you've only lost 1 out of 5.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Do you think you can? Because I know we've got down on ourselves. I know we're ending, but like getting hammered in India and really bad series. But do you think you can just have one of them? Just go, do you know what? It's in Indian conditions.
Yeah.
We didn't know our best 11. We don't have a spinner sorted. we're not in a crisis. We had a bad series.
We
against a good team.
certainly, me and you certainly, and I think a lot of people predicted a result like we got in India. It's not that much of a surprise we got battered, is it? It was disappointing to watch.
We were a bit. I think we got overconfident after the first one,
and we did think England might be able to pip a
where
win,
we
didn't
batted well. And like, we actually could save this.
England have lost 8 Test matches and only won 7 out of 18 Test matches. Can I just? India have won 9 out of 12. Haven't lost a Test match this year, and they're number 1 in the world.
Be interesting to see where they've played.
India,
yeah. So,
and they're lucky.
It's like Pakistan.
They've got series in India coming up as well.
It's like Pakistan playing the UAE.
So England have won 3 out of 4 of their ODI series, winning 11 ODIs and losing only 5.
Yeah,
brilliant, fantastic, isn't it?
It is good.
I think I'm going to make a prediction for 2017, sorry, that it'll be much of the same in the ODI cricket. I think we'll continue to be very consistent in ODI.
Right.
And I think the Ashes, it'll be a lead up for the Ashes in Test match cricket. The Ashes will come in 2018.
Do you think there'll be any hype around the Ashes?
Well, not
because there hasn't been the last couple
of times. Take him to BT Sports, so there won't be much hype in this household. But we'll be looking to, it's obvious to say, I'm hoping anyway, that from the first Test match against South Africa in the summer, the English summer in 2017, we'll have a team that we want to take to the Ashes, and there'll be no more silly experiments with likes of batting.
Do you think we'll have sorted our spinner by then?
No, we won't.
No.
I don't think we'll sort I think...
Do you think we'll have sorted batting? Go, do you know what? This is our batting order. Or do you think we'll go, we'll swap in him for him, and we'll swap those 2 round?
To be honest with you, I think this podcast we could speak for hours on how difficult it is going to be to get these players in and around that team. Although we're 41 minutes in now, we're going to have to stop it there, I'm afraid. Again, Happy New Year to those of you who've listened all the way throughout. Thank you again for all the support.
Yes.
And we shall speak to you next week, where we will have a podcast on who should be the captain of 2017 for English cricket.
Just before we end,
prediction
for this time, the next time we do this podcast, so New Year podcast, how many subscribers will we have?
Is this
your prediction? The next time we do this New Year podcast.
So
we're on 7.
So we've got 7 out of 13. So we're averaging 1 every 2.
I think you're trying to make this some sort of mathematical set, I think.
So I would like to have well, really, we should, if we're going to do the maths.
Come on, go on.
100.
100? I was going to say I'd be happy if we had 50 or more. I'd say I'd be happy. I don't mind if we have 7. But do you know what I mean? If we have 50 or more.
I'd like to say our goal would be to hit 100.
And I really would like, if you have anything that we could improve or change, please comment.
Well, I wanted 1 million. I want to get that gold plaque on the wall.
But we want improvements.
Definitely.
We want to make it better.
So you're saying 50 or more?